I grew up around white people in group homes, but wasn't really thrown around like that.
You ain't got time to be racist because you just ain't got no parents?
Yeah, I think they knew. I was like, you can't be a white supremacist. Your mom don't like you either. Your family stink too. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Public Property with me, Monroe Martin. Yo, I got Roy Wood Jr. on this episode. If you don't know who he is, you've been sleeping under a rock. He's done the White House Correspondents' Dinner. He's on The Daily Show. He got countless specials. He's the next big thing. If he should be the biggest comic out there, because this dude is a straight killer. But before we get into that interview, you know what I need you to do. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, send me an email. Maybe you have a guest that you want me to have on, or maybe you want to ask a question to a guest that I'm going to have on. Make sure you join that Patreon. And if you can't join the Patreon, then buy some merch. We got whatever you need: t-shirts, hoodies, hats, cups, stickers, greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, whatever. Let's get into this interview. Roy, thank you for playing, man. Thank you for freaking doing this podcast. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
How you been?
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Yeah.
This is like the ultimate vigilante take our country back game.
Right, but the ending, like, have you played to the very end? You just fighting the cop. At the end,
No, I haven't played this
cop.
new version. You gotta remember, bro, I'm 44. So I remember when Streets of Rage was like just two white men fighting. And then there was like Bad Dudes, which was also the same thing. And it was just literally just two dudes taking America back on some vigilante type shit.
Yeah. I don't remember that version. I think I started playing on like what, Streets of Rage 2 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's an old joint for the Sega Genesis, mid-90s, you know. So, you know, I'm talking 94, 95. Let's see, Joe Montana Football, 93. So, yeah, 93, 94 for Streets of Rage. Because that was one of the, like, one of the first titles for Sega.
Are you a gamer? Or were you a gamer?
Yeah, more so... Less so now than when I was a kid. When I became a parent.
Oh, okay.
Once I had a kid, bro, it kind of changed what you do all the time.
Yeah.
Then I play all these fighting, shooting ass games, so I can't be doing that around no black child.
So wait, are you one of those people who believe that video games can influence certain behaviors? So if your son sees you playing video games where you're shooting and ripping heads off, you think that influences him?
I don't think it influences him. I just think games at that age, you don't have the knowledge you don't have enough of a knowledge to create a behavioral balance for yourself. So that you're not just playing on the screens all the time. Like, you know, I'm not trying to have my kid just only wanting to play games all the time. Like even today, we're doing this while he's at a camp.
Okay.
So he's not at home watching me play this.
Yeah.
Because then the first thing he's going to do is go to his mama and go, I saw daddy, he was playing with the game. I'm like, stop bitching. Because I just think, you know, I think games can teach you, like video games the only time I really had a temper as well. So I think in a way it can make you a better person. You know, it can teach you how to control your impulse control.
I agree with that. My first video game that was ever bought for me was Tetris, and I was addicted to that shit.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. And I'm glad that was the first game. I'm glad it wasn't like a fighting game, because I like being angry at Tetris is all on you.
Yeah,
right?
You put the block down.
Yeah.
You stupid.
So I had nobody to be angry at, yo. And it was good for like problem solving. Like my grandmother was the first. Like my grandmother bought it for me, and she didn't understand games. But whoever sold it to her was spot on, because I was like one of those kids that whatever toy you got me, I took apart. Like I would like take it apart with like a knife or a screwdriver, and I just had to see how it functions. Like I fucking, if you bought me something on
Yeah,
Christmas, by New Year's that shit was deconstructed. God damn, we suck. We both died at
yeah,
the same time.
yeah. That was my boy. My boy does that with Legos, with
Mm-hmm.
electronics. You could get a yo. So there's these like precision model vehicles
Mm-hmm.
from a company called Brudder,
Okay.
Brudder. It's a German toy company. You can only buy these shits online or at like boutique, like some Brooklyn ass toy store.
Mm-hmm.
Like this ain't no just available in Target ass toy.
Okay.
It's a $90 functioning dump truck or cast iron, whatever. Oh, they got guns. It's about time.
Oh, yo, and they just started blasting. They didn't even load up. They just came out blasting.
Like this is where these games, like that's the funny thing about Streets of Rage is that
Mm-hmm.
this is one of them games where like it's still based on that 80s ideology of
Yeah.
vigilantism where it was rules. You didn't just shoot motherfuckers, you fought
Yeah.
them.
And you only had a couple of, like, if you did have a weapon, you can only use that weapon like twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, so my son, I'll buy him these expensive ass trucks, bro, and all
Mm-hmm.
he'll do is take them apart. And I'm like, my nigga, that was $80. Like, why would you? And then they ain't even emptying the clip. They just like shoot you one
Shoot
time.
me one time, and that shit, I'm trying to get the damn turkey.
You get a whole ass turkey for a power update. But yeah, these scrolling games, man. These were my joints, bro. Contra,
This nigga
Mutant
just
Ninja
knocked me out the damn
Turtles,
window. Oh, if you wanted to
like
play
all of
Ninja
that stuff.
Turtles, I got Ninja Turtles.
Like all them joints, they're all the same. It's just go
Yeah.
this way and punch. but they're all like entertaining in their own
Mm-hmm.
weird way. The one that I hated was Bad Dudes.
I never heard of Bad Dudes.
So Bad Dudes was an 80s joint and same premise, two white boys in leather and fingerless gloves.
They love the
Punching.
idea of white boys just fucking up people on the street, random people.
Yeah. Taking the streets back. And you wonder why them same motherfuckers in their 40s storming the Capitol. They was playing Bad Dudes.
Yo, what if they have a Storm the Capitol game?
They may as well. That shit
Yeah.
was like a game. You had to get through the first barricade. You had to jump over the thing. You had to climb to it. Then you had to find the boss, Pelosi.
You gotta stomp it. You gotta wear the flag.
Yeah.
Make a speech. Yeah. Oh shit, I had it.
Yeah.
I turned it on by mistake. My bad.
No, so Bad Dudes, at the end of the job in Bad Dudes is to rescue the president.
Okay.
You rescue the president, and then that motherfucker says, "Thanks for saving me. Would you like to go out for burgers?" And I'm
After
like,
you
"That's
risk
it?
your life?
That's it, dog?"
Nah, I need a bag or something.
Oh, so this shit is like Street Fighter now. They got quarter circle combos and all of that.
Yeah, but you gotta watch
Okay.
out, because if you use too much of it, it takes away from your health. So you gotta
Oh.
use they kind of fucked the game up. You gotta use the combo sparingly. Because if you use a combo on somebody who's not a boss, then by the time you get to the boss, you're gonna be too weak.
You laid out.
Yeah. Yo, so you grew up in Alabama, correct? Birmingham, Alabama?
Yeah.
What was it
Since the
like
dead
growing
man.
up in Alabama? Like, can you walk me through what a childhood in Alabama looks like? To me, that's the deepest South. That's deep South. Fucking in my mind, I see people just standing in front of their house with like wheat sticking out of their mouth, chewing it.
See, and that's what I hate because it's like Birmingham is such a urban metropolis.
Yeah,
And
I've
like
never been. Still to this day.
I stopped short of comparing it to Atlanta because I don't want to piss off people from Atlanta.
Mhm.
But we're also not the sticks.
Oh.
Got traffic, got buildings,
Mm-hmm.
got a 24-hour Walmart. We may not have the nightlife. But in the sense of growing up in a fairly big city. Like Birmingham Metro is about 400,000.
Get this
This
turkey.
I don't know how to pick this shit up, man.
You
It'll
press
just not
circle.
be done. Okay.
Yeah, and then also get this weapon.
So that's how circles how you grab.
Yeah, so you got to knock it out the bucket by pressing square. Not me. And then yeah, there you go. But I'm listening.
But yeah, it's a laid back place. There ain't no real nightlife or whatever. You know, everybody does know everybody. Like that much I will say about the city. You know, we have a 7-county metro, which I don't respect because it's like they like trying to count places like from Tuscaloosa damn near to the Georgia border.
Okay. What does
But it's
7-county
people.
metro mean?
Like in cities, some cities, like in Atlanta, the city of Atlanta is in Fulton County. But the Atlanta metropolitan area is like 3 or 4 counties.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, that's all technically Atlanta. It's like New York City, the tri-state.
Okay.
The New York tri-state area is 18 million, but New York might only be 10 million or some shit like that.
Okay.
Like once you throw in Jersey and all of that shit. So it's like, there's a lot of people, there's a lot going on. And it was knowing what I know now about the world. You know, we had it really good in Alabama, man. We had it, good sense of community. Like even now, when I go home, bro, it's still love. And like I know my friends' kids now and shit. Also, Birmingham is 80% black, 70% black in population. All I knew was black folks my whole life. So this idea of white folks chasing us around and get out of here, darky, and all of that, that happened, but that happened out in the county. Like anytime I got called nigga, it was over a mountain somewhere. It was never, like over the mountain. There's like a mountain part of town, like a small little foothills.
Yeah.
And once you go over the mountain, that's where like all the white folks in the suburbs are and all of that stuff.
Okay, what would make you go there? Like, what were the reasons that you would have to go to over the mountain?
Shopping and sports.
Okay.
Played soccer, played baseball. You playing baseball as a black kid, you playing white schools because most kids, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Y'all weren't playing soccer. Y'all weren't playing baseball against a bunch of other black kids. Once you got past Little League, I'm talking middle school and high school,
Yeah.
And so, white boy call you nigga while you sliding in the fucking second base. And the umpire pretend like he don't hear it.
Yeah. How was that? Because I grew up around white people in group homes, but nigga wasn't really thrown around like that. Like,
why do you think that is? Like, why?
I don't know.
You ain't got time to be racist because you just fucking ain't got no parents?
Yeah, I think they knew. I was like, you can't be a white supremacist. Your mom don't like you either. Your family stink too, nigga. We all bums. Right? And most of my group homes were in rural PA. So like Scranton, PA or Devereaux and stuff like that. And yeah, it wasn't something I really experienced until I got older. And I'm like, oh, this is the shit they were talking about. Like, you know what I mean? Like a kid, like if I got called a nigga, it wasn't nigger, it was nigga. It was a kid using it the way little black kids used it.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
I never had that. Like, it was like, fuck you, fucking niggers. And he just mumbled his shit while he's fucking sliding in the second. But it didn't really, I don't want to say it didn't bother us, but you also growing up in the South, your parents have prepared you for this shit. You spent so much of your life being told, oh, I remember these cats. These are old school from the old school gang.
Yeah.
These are old school villains.
Yeah.
Your parents have told you what to be prepared for, what to look out for. So I was never really, perturbed by it because I saw it coming. It's like when your mama tell you some bullshit coming and then you see it, you're like, oh, okay. So, you spike high when you slide into second base.
What do you mean by
You
spike
know,
high? What does that mean?
like high. You when you go in for a foot first slide, you come in with your leg with one leg extended high, so you can hit the person in the calf or the ankle or the thigh with your spikes. You spike that motherfucker. You call me nigga the last inning.
I did not
There's
know
a if
baseball
there's a
get
play,
rough like that.
bro. It's like the Jackie Robinson type stuff. They used to do that to Jackie Robinson all the time. They would slide hard into him and all of that stuff. I played first base, and what I figured out was that if you slap somebody like on a pickoff throw, right?
Mm-hmm.
You slide back in head first. Well, then I'm just gonna fucking slap you as hard as I can in the head with the glove. And if I do it just right in the ear hole, eventually it's going to make you dizzy. Why would I do that?
Whoa, yo, I did not know. I need to
So
watch more baseball. Now this changes baseball for me.
baseball is slick. It's a lot of slick shit that be happening on the field. And so like basically like I could call for a pickoff throw from my pitcher. You the same dude that called my teammate nigga last year. Like we ain't forgot. We ain't playing y'all but once or twice a year, so we really don't get a lot of chances to like.
What's a
fuck with
pickoff
teams.
throw? Like letting them get to the base, like something
Well,
that'll
before
let
a
them.
pitch, before the pitcher throws to home to the batter, if he wants, he can throw to a base where the runner is kind of leading off. Because the runner isn't standing on the base before the pitch. So if the pitcher wants, he can throw a ball over.
Get that turkey.
With the tactic being, I'm going to try and catch you slipping off the base, and then that way I can tag you out. But it's only something you should do if the runner is actually far off the base. We would do it even if you was close to the base, just so I could slap you in the head. And the ump can't say shit about it because it's a legal play. I'm technically tagging you legally. So for as long as you got your lick back, racism wasn't as prevalent in Birmingham proper because it was an enclave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You had black on black crime, don't get me wrong. You get chased home by gangster disciples and motherfuckers steal your shoes, but they wouldn't call you nigga.
They'll call you nigga. Give me that shit, nigga.
Here's the thing, though. In a weird way, though, bro, like that felt safer.
Why? Because is it the danger you know?
Yeah, there's rules. Even with stray bullets, and there's unfortunate occurrences in the hood where they'll shoot up a hole, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you ask me to choose between rural Mississippi, if I had to walk home through rural South, like some of the spots I've performed that are sundown towns, where white people have told me after the show, don't go anywhere after the show. You're funny. So I want you to be safe. So do me a favor, stay in the hotel.
Wow. I've never done those shows.
I would rather walk through west side of Birmingham where I grew up, walk me through the South Park projects, because at least there's a chance I might see somebody I know and they'll have my back. I don't know nobody in Fanning Springs, Florida. Google that joint.
Can you Google that, Fareed? Fanning Springs, Florida?
It's a sundown town on the Gulf Coast side of Florida.
Can I ask you what the sundown mean? Because I went to London like last month and I heard sundown for the first time, but that just meant like happy hour.
Oh,
so
no,
what is that? Yeah.
In the South, a sundown town is a town where they chase and lynch black people after dark. If you're still here after the sun goes down, we're going to fuck you up. We're probably going to kill you. Fuck. And so there's a lot of towns to this day that are still sundown towns. Coleman, Alabama, which is technically in the Birmingham metro area, is a sundown town to this day. Like it's like it's like a known unknown thing. If you from that place, you know Coleman ain't no place to be if you black. Like the joke in Birmingham is always like you wouldn't even fuck a girl from Coleman. If you did, you'd do it during the day.
Yeah. Get that turkey. I got your back. Oh, never mind. He just knocked me out the window. So how many times have you had to like deal with something like that? Where you ever been chased home by racists?
Not chased home, but I done had some white boys after a show want to get with me. Yeah. And I just stay in the club. Asheville, North Carolina. That's the first time I got called nigga. Like on some like I'm here to fuck you up. Like not just some sports heckle.
Was it over something you said on stage?
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah,
on that one side of racism.
Yeah.
So some folks wasn't feeling it, and I ain't finna sit here and keep listening to this nigger. Motherfucker, and I was the feature act.
Yeah.
So
you're like, goddamn, who was closing? Was it another black dude?
Yeah, no, just a rogue comic white boy.
Okay.
And so when you're doing these southern towns, here's what's wild.
We keep getting to the same place.
You talk shit. And then the club owner who's filling out reports. So like on the road, like with road comedy, it's a little different from the city.
Yeah.
So when you're a comedian on the road, you're essentially, the club owner calls the booker the next day to let the booker know how the show went. Yeah. Or they fill out an eval sheet on you. It's basically like a job report.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you get called nigga, you cuss the person out. The show turns into a quasi riot because you going at it with one of the customers. Then the headliner, who's white, has to get on stage and clear this out.
Yeah.
And now the headliner is mad because he feels like you didn't honor the show. You just had to get those hecklers kicked out, man. So all the headliner's going to say is that Roy didn't do his job. He's not going to say Roy was dealing with fucking racism and all of this other shit. So then the club won't book me again because they'll say, "Oh yeah, I heard you got into it in Asheville. We're not gonna be able to use you there. Pete and the guys in Asheville don't like you." So that's the type of shit that happens, you know. But you know, that's what a sundown town is, man. It's just always drama. What's another one? Johnson City and Bristol, Tri-Cities.
Okay.
Used to be a comedy zone there. I performed there. And mind you, people will just tell you straight up, "Hey man, don't even come to this place, man. We don't want you to get hurt." And so you going on stage dealing with these folks. The upside though is that if you can make a motherfucker like that laugh at you,
yeah.
Oh, that's a good feeling.
You know it works. Yeah, you like these niggas don't even like me. They don't have a reason not to like me. They just don't like me because of my existence, and I still brought those laughs out.
I still got you to laugh.
Yeah.
So
I only been called nigga once on stage. It was about some old lady. I was doing like a police brutality joke, and she was like, "I'm not gonna sit here and let this nigger disrespect our law enforcement and this, that, and the third." I made a joke out of it, but people still hated me. Some white boy tried to approach me after the show, but once he seen how big I was, you see him like change his tactic to, "Hey man, you know, you just can't be just," because I made a joke, like somehow it came up that she had cancer, so I kind of was like, "Oh well, that's like good for you" type shit. And apparently so he didn't like that, so he tried to approach me after the show, and then things turned. Like I got my height that works for me, but I haven't really ran into a situation like that again. I didn't even know that still kind of happens at shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it depends on how tough you want to get. You know, you look at a nigga like Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney lived for confrontation with white audience members. Now, granted, he was a little more frail in the back end, so people would just leave or just heckle. Like they wasn't gonna rush Paul Mooney. Paul also had some youngins that traveled with him.
Yeah.
Who would have fucked him up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I never really dealt with that on a regular. But I am prepared to, because I talk a lot of shit, man. I talk a lot of shit in strange places, and I just got to be ready for that. I mean,
Were
that's
you
the
like
one
that as a
downside to
kid? Were you always a shit talker?
Nah, I was very low key. I
Yeah.
still am for the most part. Like I don't really do too much. Like just fuck you, fuck y'all, fuck this, fuck
Yeah.
everybody. I'm just very much in a place where I'm trying my best to just make a point and get you to just consider a different view.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, I know some people are going to feel some kind of way
Get
about
that
the
turkey.
shit.
I'll get him.
I know some people are going to feel some kind of way about the shit, but ain't nothing I can do about that. But that's also the problem with trying to develop a bit early on.
Yeah.
Is that you sometimes make the mistake of going too far or going the wrong way with the joke. And like that's the one thing that I hate, but it's part of the process, bro.
Yeah.
Like I ain't got no choice but to kind of piss you off. I was doing a joke early on. I'll never forget in St. Louis. I was doing a bit and fucking it wasn't a pro police bit, but it definitely wasn't the type of joke you needed to be telling in St. Louis while Ferguson was still smoldering. And I was in St. Louis. Shit, man. Did it again. I was in St. Louis
spot.
2 weeks. I was in St. Louis 2 weeks after Ferguson happened, after the Mike Brown death and everything. And I'm trying to work through this bit. And boy, that shit turned into a town hall on my ass real quick. You know, when a comedy show go from because to me the difference between a heckle and a town hall is like when the audience, all of the audience is with the heckler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like ain't much you can do. And I can't remember what I said or how I said it. It ended up being a bit that was really fucking good, but and that black people rocked with. But at that particular time, the joke wasn't ready, and that wasn't the right place to do it.
What was the backlash?
Boss after that?
There's another boss. I'm gonna need you for this. He gonna kill me immediately.
It was tense. It was tense, and then it took me almost 20 minutes of just my best material.
Yeah.
Just to get back to zero.
To get them to get the laughs, right? Just to get like one laugh. Everybody
just
having
to get
fun.
back to, we have officially forgotten about that shit you said 20 minutes ago. So that was a wise lesson, but that's probably the most confronted I felt on stage. But if I'm trying to force people to look at stuff a different way, I got to force black people to do the same thing.
So
and I think as a race, the issue also is that as a race, I think that black people, we don't fuck with satire the way white folks do. We fucking truth. We fuck with truth. So
yes,
if you say something that is
absolutely.
affirmed, that I agree with, that I've been trying to get everybody else to see, you my dog.
Yeah.
The most celebrated black comedians are truth tellers. They're not satirists. They don't say it ironically and you got to be smart to get the joke.
Yeah.
It's clear cut. It's right there. And so sometimes I toe the line between those two things. And so
that's what I love about you, though. Like I did, like when we were at that barbecue. Oh no, at your show at Trials and Tribulations. I was like that. I like that you're like in between satire and truth, and you can make fun of anything, dog. Sorry, get this damn turkey. Man. Nope, ain't no turkey. I want to ask you about more about your childhood. So, did that way of thinking come from your parents? Like that was that something you developed before comedy? Just like like that understanding? Because I feel like our comedians' journeys start before we get on stage, right? Like we really
Yeah,
start
we
to
don't even
develop our
realize it.
funny. Yeah, we start to develop our funny and understand the power of what we're saying and how to make it funny way before we do an open mic.
So before we moved to Birmingham, we were in Memphis.
Okay.
We were in Memphis till I was in the third grade. Then we
So
moved to
were you not
Birmingham.
born in Birmingham?
No, I was born in New York. And then a year later I was in Memphis because my parents separated. And then by the time my parents got back together, my pops was in Birmingham. So that's where,
So none of your family are originally from the South?
oh yeah, everybody from the South. My pops is Atlanta. My mom is Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
Like my mom is super country. Like that's Clarksdale is literally that's where Morgan Freeman and Nate Dogg are from.
Oh, I did not know that.
Like it's like my granddad used to play bass for Ike and Tina. Like just Clarksdale was just a blues and music place. And so, it's southern rooted. So that's kind of where I came up. My grandmother was very much like a sharecropper and all of that type of shit. There's a couple of people as well, like in my family that just super talented, but also super opinionated. So my dad, a broadcast journalist. My mom was a civil rights soldier. And
I did not know that.
yeah, bro, my dad was a civil rights journalist, and so he used to fucking on purpose embed himself in like African wars, Zimbabwe and Soweto and shit, and would literally just fucking fight people, like just go to Vietnam and cover shit, and just had no bones about figuring out the truth of what's going on in the world. So I think I got that from them. So when we moved to Birmingham, my mom's puts me in these gifted programs, and so in Birmingham, the gifted program was always changing every year or two. It would be a different school in the school system that had the smart classes.
Yeah.
So every fucking 2 years, I was in a different school. So yeah, it's all Birmingham, but I'm constantly having to fit in and fucking readjust. So the simplest way to make friends is fucking tell a joke.
Yeah.
So that's what I started doing. And so that became...
And your jokes were probably highbrow because you smart and you come from two educated parents.
I was stupid back then. I was reading Mad Magazine. I had Mad Magazine and a subscription to Nintendo Power. So, like, I was the guy that would tag the bullies jokes. Which is what I guess is why, like, a lot of people from like middle school probably don't really reach out or fuck with me for real. My high school classmates still fuck with me, but the middle school niggas is probably like, fuck him, I ain't forgot. like in the cartoons, it'd be that big mean dog and it'd be the little scrappy dog. Yeah,
that's you.
Tell him. That was me. And so, like, that became like the defense tactic to fit in was just being around different people. I wasn't in the same school system for more than 2 years until high school. So
and you graduated from you stayed in the same high school until you graduated.
Yeah. Okay. But now here's the upside though. When you go to the boys club in your neighborhood, but your high school is not your zone.
Yeah.
But then you go to summer school at a different high school. But because of Little League, you're playing all the other kids all over the city. Your church that your mama takes you to every Sunday isn't in your zone. So you're mingling with kids. So when you finally start doing radio and you get into your 20s and 30s, I know the whole city. Ain't a black person over 35 in Birmingham that I don't know or I'm 1 degree of separation from because of the social foundation that was laid because I moved everywhere. And
Yeah.
that's been one of the most beautiful things now as an adult is being able, like, what Jeezy say? I'm good in every hood.
Yeah.
Like, knowing people all over the city in all different types of industries now, I'm able to, like, maneuver and do certain things the way I want to in the city. Like when it's time to do a charity event or when I shot my pilot for Comedy Central. And we shot in Birmingham. I called on so many favors to try and save money, and motherfuckers came through too. They came through. So it's Birmingham it's a warm communal place, but it's a lot of good folks that care about the world. And the problem is that with the South, everybody just assumes that don't nobody care. Because the people that's making the law, we ain't vote for them people that's making them laws y'all complaining about. We don't like them either. I just came from Orlando, and somebody gonna ask me, you really doing a show in Orlando? You really gonna go to Florida? Yeah, I'm gonna go to Florida. Because like this idea that people in other places don't deserve, I ain't supposed to go entertain them because some other folks acting a fool. No, I ain't rocking with that, man.
No, I understand that.
Because I'm from the part they disregard,
Yeah. Oh shit. I have a new perspective on the South though. I started really touring the South this year, like after the pandemic. And when I say the South, it's only really just North Carolina, South Carolina, Houston, stuff like that. And it's completely different from what I thought it was going to be. Like I only went to North Carolina when I was a kid. And my idea of fields and all that stuff came from my grandma because she's from like Rocky Mount.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the sticks. So I used to hate going out there. I didn't know that Charlotte and fucking where's Good Nights at?
Raleigh, Durham.
Raleigh, like I didn't know those places are bustling and friendly. At least to me, they were friendly, super
kind. Yeah, but when it's time to vote for elections, then the shady powers take over.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, when we talk about economic boycotts of a city, it's like, all right, you're going to shut down this industry to punish the lawmakers in an effort to get them to pass a law that benefits folks. But in the interim, it's the locals, it's the poor folks in the middle class. They're the ones that suffer.
Yeah.
You don't show up, ain't no customers, we going to fire you. And now you off into an unemployment system that ain't even set up to benefit you either. So, I don't know. I'm just talking about what I choose to do because I've been in those places and there's a hopelessness, and I'm not trying to get all wax poetic about comedy. And it's
you can do it. We playing video games, we talking. I want this to feel as comfortable as possible.
This idea that people don't get something from live performance, be it music or whatever, they do. And it means a lot to certain folks. And that show might be the one thing a motherfucker was looking forward to for the last 2-3 months. It was the one thing they was going to do that was going to bring them a smile because everything else is shit.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, it's just, I understand the people in the South because that's all I've ever known.
Yeah.
And then that's all I ever toured. My first 9 years of comedy was the South, bro, and a little bit of the Midwest. I might have got up to Ohio and up to maybe Milwaukee. My shit was Orlando to Milwaukee. So you performing in all these parts they disregard, man. You understand that the stereotypes that they put in place, they're not. It's not in total. It's not everybody down there like that.
Yeah.
But Birmingham is wonderful banking, wonderful medical and the tech sector is growing there. Like Birmingham is where all your favorite athletes go to get fixed when they tear some shit.
Yeah.
That's where they go. They all go to see Dr. James Andrews or Dr. Lee Max or all of these other sports medicine down there. Like that's pioneering shit. So there's a lot of great things happening, and I'm not here to like sound like some Alabama tourism commercial, but most of these places you think you don't know.
Yeah.
Now, there's also a lot of parts of the South that are exactly what y'all say, and I done been there too, and I done told jokes and got my money and left
Got the
town.
fuck out of there.
Don't spend the night. OG taught me that a long time ago. He was like, they know where you're staying because the comedy club has set up the hotel every week for the same comedian, and you performing in like we used to do a show at a white biker bar. I think it was in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. But they was like, they for sure was at January 6th. These people, for sure.
They're selling merch, probably.
For sure, were there at January 6th. And we would go in there and do the show. And they had one black dude that, all I remember is that the nigga's name was Hot Rod. And
black dude named Hot Rod?
Yeah, and I can't even say he was on some ruckus shit. He wasn't on Uncle Ruckus like sellout. It was just this is where he grew up. So these are his friends.
Yeah.
So somehow he got like a pass on being black and was just like, they had white power. What I know now to be like 1%er tats and patches and all of that stuff on the
Wait, that's what that means? When the biker gangs wear those 1% patches, that's kind of like white power shit?
It's adjacent to it. I ain't gonna speak to the specificity of it because I don't know all of it, but I know that probably ain't who you want serving your food if you're a waiter. Yeah, 99% of motorcycling public are law abiding. There's 1% who are not. The 1% patch is worn by clubs immersed in criminality and large enough to claim to be the baddest of the badasses.
Damn.
So if there's a non-racist 1% biker gang, maybe that's them. Maybe that's who Hot Rod was hanging with. But I wasn't finna stay in town that night to fucking find out.
Damn.
So I dipped on them niggas, man. Like, but it's
I
weird,
put the
though.
assist on. We keep getting our ass kicked. I was like, we need all the help we need.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they literally, man, like you travel that part of the country though, and you also learn that there's not all of these furious racists the same as everywhere else in the South that people think.
Yeah.
Some of it is just poverty. It's just these white folks broke. Nobody ain't racist. You just ain't got no money.
Yeah. And they need somebody to blame.
Yeah, and they just need somebody to blame. So that part of it, it just kind of changed my view on America. And then the way it comedically forced me to work with my material is that because I was performing every night for a different group, I had to come up with material that worked. That worked for multiple people. Because one night you in the A and you doing some big, black club, and then the next night you in Biloxi and you doing a casino with a bunch of old people.
Yeah.
And
Two different crowds.
Yeah, but what you
Completely
gonna do? Write a different joke every fucking night? Or you gonna come up with a joke on the topic that everybody can rock with?
No, I was just saying two different crowds, like reiterating it to the people who are listening.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
Two different sensibilities and everything.
So then that's where I started learning with my writing. All right, if I change the speed of this joke, it helps. If I tell the joke faster, or if I tell the joke, louder or softer, Like the older the crowd, the slower I talk.
Yeah.
And there's still a heightened sense of tempo because you know my comedy's up tempo and shit.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely an interesting. It's an interesting place. I just think it's backwards, but it's misunderstood. But I do think that that we are progressing past some of that shit, man.
Would you ever like move back there? Like when
Yeah, I want
Roy
to.
Huh?
I want to. I'm planning on it, bro. I don't want to
Oh,
be in New
really?
York forever.
Would you get a house, get some land, raise your son out there?
I don't know if I can raise my son now. Now we getting into a different scenario because I think that from a co-parenting standpoint, you know, his mother is the most important woman in my life. So he need both of us, and she need to thrive. And I ain't gonna sit here and act like Birmingham is the be all end all for whatever careers you want. Because if I want to move somewhere that don't rock with what her goals are, it's selfish to my son for me to still go to that place. You know.
Yeah.
You know, unless I'm just cool with just being an absentee father or just being a summer dad, as I like to call it, which for me don't vibe. That ain't what I want. So you know, it's. I do think that fate will eventually take me back to Birmingham
Okay.
because I care too much about the city, and it's not a lot of people that are from Alabama that have an opportunity to do things that help benefit the city.
Yeah.
In a way that's truly transformative. You know?
Yeah. Would you get into politics?
Nah.
Nah.
I think
You just be the celebrity with the money?
Yeah. So here's what's wild though. In Alabama, celebrity is a detriment because we need to know that you're regular and that you rock and that you actually care and that you're not just coming in as an opportunist.
Okay.
So like that part of it, in a weird way, it's not a good thing. You know, it kind of sort of is, but it's not necessarily the best case scenario. I'm better off using my celebrity to bring people in.
Yeah.
Who do care, you know, who can actually get shit done. So, you know, it's an interesting fucking thing, man. I really wish though.
Finally, we have to got damn boss. Sorry.
That I could go back and do more before I left town. Because now, like when you know the game and then you go back with the knowledge that you have of the game.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's kind of fuck. He hit me first.
Hold on, let me use these specials then. Right, get yourself a turkey. I hate when they start unleashing the henchmen. Once you start whooping their ass, they start cheating. But I want to ask you more questions about your childhood. Do you know how you were conceived? Not how you were conceived, but do you know if you were like made out of love or in the back seat? Like, were you a hookup baby?
No, I was loved. My parents were married. The stories that was told to me, my dad told my mom, I want a son and I want you to give me one. My mom was like, okay. I don't know how you sling dick in a way that you specifically get.
Yeah, how do you get a son on the first shot?
you know, there's like a bunch of old wives' tales about that shit. You drink this on this day and you fucking this position at this time and boom.
Lemon
that changes
juice,
the gender.
Standing up. Avoid hot tubs.
Yeah,
I heard all
it's
that
bullshit
shit.
like that. Yeah, you do that shit, then all of a sudden you are able to fucking make a fucking baby.
Yeah. You know what genre of music you were probably conceived to?
Blues. My daddy loved blues. You know what? No, I don't know though, because my mama loved Diana Ross. Nigga, what kind of question is this? I've never in my life been asked.
I think it's important, yo. I think it's important if you know where you would conceive and how. I think that also determines the way your parents look at you, right? There's some parents who hate their damn kids because they like you was just out of fun. You weren't out of
Yeah,
love.
but why you mad at the kid? You got to charge that to the game.
Yeah. Some parents take their anger out on their kids, man.
Oh,
all their life mistakes, all that shit. I've seen it. I've seen, you know what I mean? Like, the one benefit of growing up in foster care, I get to see how people treat their regular kids, and I'm like, y'all niggas should be in the system too. I'm like, there's no need for you. I shouldn't be at this house, but y'all should be taken away when I leave. You'd see the way parents put their failures on their kids and all of that shit. Also, it's just a silly question to ask too.
But I don't know. I've never understood why people would rather be mad at the child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's some for real mental illness type shit, bro.
Yeah. What's your first childhood memory? Or your first memory in general? Do you know?
Taking a Jell-O pudding pop to my mom's curtain.
What you mean?
Them Jell-O pudding pops I used to have back in the day.
Yeah, you said taking it to her curtain. Like, you put it on her curtain?
I painted my mom's white curtain with a chocolate Jell-O pudding pop. And I got.
And she beat you?
I got the whooping of a fucking lifetime. Maybe that's why I remember it. I remember that. I remember watching the movie Airplane.
Great movie.
And I just remember laughing at the and it's so funny because Airplane is one of those movies that you get when you watch it when you're older, you get a whole new set of jokes.
Yeah. Like the "Don't Call Me Shirley" thing? Or "Speak Jive." That shit still has me cracking up.
Like, that shit is all fucking gold, man.
Yeah.
I remember watching that. And laughing at the autopilot. So it was a blowjob.
Sex style? Yeah.
Yeah, so the autopilot, it was a blow up sex doll that was the autopilot in Airplane. Mm-hmm. And his name was Otto. And I just thought OTTO was just regular name. I was like, it's Otto because autopilot. But in the movie, the inflatable autopilot starts deflating and the plane starts shaking. So the guy goes, "You got to blow him up," and the spot to blow up the inflatable autopilot was where his dick was. So it looks like she's sucking his dick. But I'm laughing because his head is going up and down as if he's enjoying a blowjob. But to me, it's just a funny balloon thing. I was 3 or 4, bro. I don't know nothing about blowjobs. But I remember that. Those are two of the first things I remember. I remember as a kid distinctly trying to do the Wile E. Coyote ankle stop. I wanted to see if you could really do it, where you run and then stomp on your ankles.
Wait, what do you mean?
When Wile E. Coyote would run and then he needed to change directions, he would jump and extend both legs into the ground, and the heel of his feet would touch the ground first.
Okay. I remember that. Yeah.
So I try to run and stop on both of my heels at the same time. And I went straight back immediately and hit my head on the floor. And fuck the pain. And then my mom comes in the room, and I had one of those moms where if you weren't like bleeding, you were gonna be all right type moms. Bro,
that's a good rule of thumb.
My mom come in and she see me rubbing my head, and she just goes, "Whatever it was, I bet you won't do it again." And just walked out the room.
Did you try it again? Did you try to master the stop?
No, I'm 44 and I still remember that. Yeah, like all of my memories are attached to pain. I remember slicing my finger open the first time I used a knife to open an orange because I'm a big boy, mama. I want to thing and do the orange.
Yeah. And
Next thing I
fucking
know,
slice
slice
that
my
open.
shit straight white meat. Straight
What was
white
your
meat.
what was your relationship with your mom? Were you allowed to call your parents by their first name?
No, hell no.
Not at all.
I call
Did
my
you ever
mom
attempted it?
Joyce jokingly on stage sometimes, and
Mm,
even that feels slimy, you know.
yeah.
But she gets it. She knows it's a joke. Um, no, my pops was just always sir. Yes,
Mm.
sir. No, sir.
You couldn't even call him dad? Okay. He's like, don't you dare call me dad.
Yes, drill sergeant. Yes, drill sergeant.
Yo,
Yeah.
were your parents the type, like, if you got in a fight and you lost, were they the type to send you back outside and fight until you won? Or would they kind of
Nah,
like coddle you?
nah. I only got in 2 fights. I was never much of a.
Wait,
I
2 fights
wasn't
in your entire life?
2 fights in my entire life. 4th grade and 8th grade.
That's a good distance.
Yeah, I mean, humor has a way of disarming a lot of things, and it can keep things at bay. But it's always going to be people that's just on some. I don't like that nigga. You
Yeah,
know,
but you can't do nothing about that. Usually they don't even have a legit reason to not like you.
4th grade didn't.
Yeah.
He just didn't like me just because.
Was he white, black?
And said as much. Nah, it's black. This is all both times was black. The second one was my homeboy. We still cool to this day, but on that particular day, that shit was a problem, bro.
What was it
I
about?
forget. We're playing this game. Did y'all ever have these games up in PA where you couldn't say a certain word, and if you said that word, people could punch you? Or is that just
Mm,
some bored Southern shit?
I think that's some bored Southern shit. Yeah. Besides punch buggy, no punch back, that was kind of the only reason you would hit
Okay,
somebody. And then
yeah,
when I
there's
started hanging around white kids, they did the nut tap shit, and that was always weird.
nut check, cup check. We call it cup check in baseball.
Cup
Where they just
checking, yeah.
we punch you in the dick to see if you're wearing a cup. Like, just which again, I don't
You
know
could
why.
just ask.
No, because I want it's the paranoia of someone casually grazing against your nuts, and the paranoia of thinking that it's gonna fucking hurt.
Yeah.
So we had this game called BB Bull, where you
Okay.
couldn't say a B word. And so in BB Bull, if you said a B word, anybody that was also playing BB Bull could just start hitting you until you say BB Bull. So all it was is just a game that just made you hyper aware of what you're saying every day.
Okay.
You know, like how the Crips or how Bloods won't say anything with a C, and Crips won't say any letter that starts with a B. And
Yeah. Do you think they gotta fuck each other up if they do say it though?
I don't know. That's a good question. But I know in Birmingham, anybody who was playing could beat the shit out of you. And the problem with BB Bull is that you didn't know who was playing. You didn't always know who was playing. Who was like pinky in.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Pinkied in?
playing. Yeah, you get pinky locked in, not pinky up your ass.
No, I wasn't even thinking. I'm just thinking like you had to officially be like, all right, like you locked pinkies. Well, you're a part of this now.
Essentially, yeah.
All right.
So we playing BB Bull, and we have an assembly, and it's Black History Month, so we sing "We Shall Overcome," and the part in the song where it go deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.
Yeah.
I said the word believe.
Yeah.
I forgot to say BB Bull.
Yeah.
And a nigga hit me in the
In
middle
your
of
face?
the fucking in my back. He was behind me. This is in an assembly, bro. And this motherfucker hit me
in front of everybody.
In front of everybody in the middle of a school assembly. And I'm like, nigga, you can't do that, bro. So I fucking hit him back, and then we started fighting right in the middle of the fucking
Damn,
in the
who
middle
won?
of the school assembly. He did. That's more of a push. I put it this way. He punched me. I turned around and punched him in the chest.
Yeah.
And then he hit me with one of them quick Honda slaps where you didn't even see where the slap came from.
Yeah.
It was like that Chris Tucker Rush Hour 2. Which one of y'all punched me?
Yeah.
Which one of y'all kicked me? So buddy slapped the shit out of me. And then I just I closed distance. Because in my brain, I'm like, well, you're not going to do that again. I'm not going to give you extension. So I rush up on him, and then he clamped, and then we start tussling. By the end of school, the teachers was over there. So
breaking it up. How'd y'all cry? How'd y'all make up? Was it
I was like, why did you hit me? And then he just goes, you didn't say BB Bull. And I'm like, what? That's what the fuck? We got in-school suspension and all this shit, man.
All right. Before you go, got a couple more questions that I'll let you go. Okay. We at the hour. So were your parents the type that would, did they allow freedom of expression? Were you the type of kid that could sit down with your parents and tell them what you disagree with and stuff like that and speak your mind? Or was it do as I say?
No, there was diplomacy in the house, but they still had the final vote. It's like being in the Senate without the majority.
Oh, okay.
So you could propose a bill. I was allowed to counter, which I let my son do now. I let him counter, certain things. Hey, man, I need you to do this, this, and this. Can I do it in this order? Or can I do these two things and then do this new thing and then do that third thing? And I'm like, yeah, as long as you get it all done. Yeah, it's like that. That was fine. My parents never really, I didn't have a bedtime growing up. But if you oversleep and miss the bus, you lose the phone for a week. If you do it again, I take your baseball glove. Which she knew I hated because if you showed up to baseball practice without your glove, you ran the whole practice. So you 2 hours in the Bama heat, just running.
Just running. Can die of heat stroke.
Yeah. Them coaches didn't give a fuck back then. This is before hydration.
Yeah.
Fucking rules.
It was like, kids got to drink water? Says who?
Yeah. These heat index 10-minute mandatory rests. You must get a rest. Nope. So it taught me how to govern myself in a way that was respectful, to my mom, so that I didn't get caught up in a lot of bullshit. So for the most part, I didn't get in a lot of trouble, bro. I didn't really skip school. I did here and there. I got in trouble once. We tried to go to Freaknik and my car broke down. And so I lied about saying we had a baseball game out in the county.
Yeah.
we halfway to Atlanta, nigga. My radiator, just a thermostat. So my mom, we had a double header. We had baseball to justify not getting home till 10 o'clock at night. Okay. Not realizing that we're going to Freaknik on a Friday. All we're going to be there for is from 5 until 8:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Freaks ain't coming out till 11.
Yeah, freaks don't come out till 11:30, 12.
But we just thinking that, because you've heard the stories of Freaknik. There was no social media in 95.
Yeah.
If someone had a VHS tape, it was just, it's a freeway and there's just titties on it and they shaking and they get naked. But even that, I didn't get an ass whooping for that. Most of my stuff was just mischief in the spirit of doing more of what I want. I forged my mom's signature on a permission slip in the 6th grade to go on a field trip. And the only reason I did that is because I forgot to ask her. I just forgot to give it a permission slip. It wouldn't have been a problem. But when I forged her signature, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because now that's lying. And so,
and you being sneaky. And then it's also like, what else are you forging my
Yeah.
signature on? What else are you hiding from me? So
Correct.
transparency was very big in your family, like amongst you and your
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah, between me and my mom. My dad, not so much. My dad was just more drill sergeant warden-y.
Yeah.
Like I've learned more from my father in his death than I really did from him on a regular day to day. Because he and I didn't really have a day to day. He had another family across town. He spent a lot more time over there with them than he did with us. And then also his work schedule, our work schedules didn't match up. My dad was out the door at 5 a.m. to do radio news. So Pops is gone 5 to 9. I get home at 5:36 from whatever sports practice, choir rehearsal, whatever the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
I got home at 6. He back out the door at 8 to go do his jazz show. And then he's in the streets after that. So we had conversations more. We got closer when I was like 14 or 15. Like once I got my learner's permit and I could drive around a little bit more with him to take him places when he was getting weaker.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of when we started having conversations. But in terms of stay out this late and discipline and all of that, that was all my mom. My dad was when stuff had escalated. Like, my dad was like, we got to escalate this to the next level. So if you're in some for real trouble, like you were supposed to get a whipping and then you talk shit after the whipping.
But what else you supposed to do? You can mumble some shit after a whooping. You can mumble that shit didn't hurt. You never said that afterwards. You get whipping.
No.
And then they double down and they were like, "Oh, it didn't hurt." You're like, "Damn, I gotta work on my volume."
Yeah, like it's a weird thing, bro. It really is a weird thing. Now that you asked that, like in the sense that, like my mom, she said, like I saw her work ethic and I learned a lot from her. But then I look at my pops in hindsight and I'm like, oh damn, that nigga was working up until 3 weeks before he died of cancer. Didn't take chemo because it had made him too weak, and he wouldn't have been able to do the one thing he loved, which was radio.
Yeah.
And I ain't never related to him more than in that single moment of just never wanting to stop doing comedy. It's what I love. Like it literally keeps me alive. So like that being a thing that he and I resonate with him on, now, that shit is wild, bro. But like my pops would get me a car, but then it would be my mom who decide when I could drive it. Or you on punishment, give me the keys. Stuff like that.
Yeah, so she was the authority figure in your life.
Correct. My mother was the authority figure. Like my dad was SWAT.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had to really fuck up in order to get your dad to step in. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've never experienced that, but I've seen that. I've seen like kids act up and like, don't make me call your dad, and then that kid just completely changes their behavior, and I'm like, I want to see what the fuck this dad gonna do. I want to know what this dad gonna do. Keep acting up. Let's see. I would instigate sometime.
And the next generation just walked in the door. Look at him over there.
Yo,
strong.
If your family had a motto, what would that be? If your family had a theme song or a motto, what would you think that would be?
I think my family's motto would be hard work, be kind to all.
I like that. Yo, Roy, thank you for hanging out with me, man. I really appreciate you spending time with me, talking, playing video games. Is there anything you want to plug before we leave?
Man, I ain't got nothing to plug, man. Thank you for having me. And thank you for having a podcast that's interesting and you actually try to ask real questions and give a fuck.
Nah, no problem, man.
You're low-key a very, very fucking deep dude, bro.
Oh, I appreciate
Which is
that.
what I fucking love about you.
I appreciate it. That means a lot coming from you, man. Because I told you, you're one of those comics that inspired me not only to move to New York, but actually like get on Last Comic Standing, and then watching you take chances on stage. I'm like, dude, I gotta do that. You can ask Derek. Like I remember when you showed up to the Laugh House. I was at every single show that weekend you did watching, and I was just like, yo, whatever the fuck he's doing, I gotta mimic. And they say that. They say mimic your favorite comic in order to at least like make some strides. And you were one of those people. I'm like, whatever the fuck Roy's doing, I'ma do.
Man, thank you, bro.
No problem, man. I used to watch you come through these fucking. For people that don't know, Laugh House was like one of the top urban clubs. And no disrespect to people, the comics that came there, but there are a lot of people that will come and fuck the stool and do music drops and all that. And you were never one of those people, and you were demolished.
Well, you know why? Like, because when I did BT's Comic View one year, I saw all of the comedians that had music jokes being told by the producers 5 minutes before they go on stage.
Yeah,
we can't do any music jokes because we're not going to pay for the rights. And you're just seeing these dudes go, oh my God, who am I as a performer without the DJ? I'm not hating on cats who do that. Yeah. But for me, when I saw that early on, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to even do music jokes because I want to make sure I'm always doing stuff that I can do on TV. So that was just something I just became hyper paranoid about.
Yeah. I'm glad I seen you do it because that was very important for me to see as a young black comic, to see somebody come through this place where and once again, I hope I'm not being disrespectful, but where you see everybody do the same shit because it works. And then you come in and you're being completely you and you're doing something different and you're being appreciated and you're killing. It was you, Dion Cole, and I forgot the last dude, but just watching y'all come through was like, it was very important for my development, man. So it was an honor to even know you and just build a relationship. So I appreciate it, man.
Man, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man.